I took a video of the inside of my mouth and how it's moving when I'm singing. So camera down inside the back of my throat. What? When I was at CU, I was also interested in Japanese culture. I was taking Japanese language classes, Japanese literature, culture classes, along with all of my music curriculum. And I had a Japanese teacher who introduced a program where you could go to Japan and teach English. And I was like, I'm going to apply for that. Next thing I knew, after graduation, I was on a plane to Japan and was teaching English in the middle schools there. I was in what they call Inaka, the countryside.
Where the monkeys are.
And yes, actually, yes. There's some great natural onsen that you can go in and get in with the monkeys, and oh my gosh, so many memories. While I was there, I was also started to study Japanese traditional music, not the more modern, but really very traditional music, and I did different instruments, shamisen, koto, drumming, the taiko, but my real instrument that I love is the voice. I was teaching a class at a lifelong learning center, and I just randomly said one day in a class, boy, I'd really like to learn Japanese folk song. The next week, one of the students came and said, I found you a teacher. He lives just down the road from you. I was like, okay. Wow. I showed up and knocked on the door, very traditional. I didn't speak very much Japanese yet at that time. He didn't speak any English, but he invited me in, and we started these very traditional style of music was a voice lessons where it's all rote memorization. He sang a line, I sang it back. He's like, no, that's wrong. And he sang it again and went back and forth. Some songs would take me a year to grasp. My teacher took me under his wing. I don't know, he was like my dad in a way, and he would take me around to all of his lessons after a while. Wow. They have in Japanese, there's an expression called Kabanmochi, which means bag carrier. He would call me up. He's like, I'm on my way. I'll be there. My job was to help him with his bags and the instruments so that he could teach. And so I would participate in a lot of the group lessons with him and get to know the other people that were also taking lessons. I had to learn how to speak in Japanese and how to learn their customs so that they would accept me into the group too. At least that was my goal, was that I wanted to be part of the group. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The respect and the reverence that you would have had to just demonstrate every time that you met with your teacher to get that level of confidence says something about your character. That's huge.
Thank you. Very different from the opera that I sang. So the vocal timbre, vocal techniques are just maybe as far as you can get from each other. From the Western perspective, when I was learning Western music or Italian art, there was one way to sing, and if you don't sing it that way, and you're going to ruin your voice, was the message that I got. But when I started Japanese folk song, if I sing this music like I'm singing arias, Italian, then it doesn't sound authentic. So instead of imposing this Western style of singing onto the Japanese folk song, I retrained my voice. Wow. It was a lot of muscle training and just figuring it out.
Structurally.
I was in Japan 11 years total. It was my 5th year in Japan. I hit a lot of milestones that year. I took the Japanese language proficiency test. That is
big deal.
If you're going to get into a Japanese university, you have to pass level 1. So I passed level 1 that year, which means I'm fluent in Japanese. I also was in a variety of competitions for Japanese folk song. Started moving up the ranks. It starts locally and then regional and goes up. And I did get into national competition. I was only one of 10. And again, the only non-Japanese that was in the room.
Well, let's stop and talk about what a big deal that is, though, because I don't think people understand that there are families traditionally who handpick their children to go on this route and to be national treasures of the country.
Right.
So to say that you went there, and I would say you would have had to pour your heart, soul, outside of including blood, sweat, and tears, just to be considered. So sincerely, bravo. That's a lifetime achievement. That's huge. And I just want people to understand that since we don't do that in our country outside of a commercialized way, right, that it's a big deal to be noticed. So it's huge.
Thank you. It was that same 5th year that I was accepted into the Tokyo National University of Fine Arts and Music, which if you're making a comparison to a university here in the United States, it'd be like the Indiana School of Music, Indiana University School of Music, or Juilliard. It's that rank of universities. I was accepted into the university as a master's student. I also got a full ride scholarship from the Japanese Ministry of Education to study the research music. Japanese. My thesis topic was Bi-Musicality. I was researching the concept of can one person sing two very different types of music and create these very different timbres, and this melismatic way of creating sound and the melody line is very different. How you do that, how you manipulate your throat to the inside of your mouth to do that. So I used myself as the case study, and I was practicing Italian aria again and retraining my voice because I had gone so far to Japanese folk song that I had lost that style. I had to go back, retrain my voice again, and then I was simultaneously practicing both styles and seeing what I could do with it. My voice would get rough. It was interesting to watch the transformation on myself. Part of the research was to compare like how I hold the inside of my mouth and the larynx and pharynx and everything inside the vocal cords. And so I took a video of the inside of my mouth and how it's moving when I'm singing. Yeah, so camera down inside the back of my throat.
What? Yes. I need to see this. Does it still exist somewhere?
It does.
Wonderful.
That's what I did my research on and wrote my master's thesis was about this journey with learning these two different styles of music, and is that possible for one person to sing these two different styles without them influencing one another? At the end of the day with the research was yes, technically it is possible.
Important too, because in today's society here in America, but across the globe, parents are hip to the idea that their kiddos might need a say in what they're being trained in and what they're dedicating their time to, but we don't always know what that is. And so to know that there is a way to go from classical training in the only extremes really that I can discern is, wow, that's a gift too in your dissertation work, to let other people know, hey, you might have put yourself in this box, but did you?
Did
I kind
you?
of love that.